I created my dad as a manager on FM26, but there's a problem. Although he is a very good manager, nobody in world football knows who he is. His reputation is minimal, and therefore the only job that he could get to start his career was at Torquay United, a local team currently playing in the Enterprise League South. But by the end of his career, will he be considered one of the all-time greats? Well, to do that, I would say he would have to win a couple of league titles in a row. So that's going to be the first challenge. Can he win 3 league titles in a row in one of the biggest leagues? The Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, or the Serie A? Of course, the greatest managers of all time also win the big ones. Can he win multiple Champions Leagues and bonus points if he wins it with 2 different clubs? And some managers can do it all. Can my dad win a World Cup or Continental International tournament? If he can do all of those 3 things, I think he should be considered one of the all-time greats. What's your thoughts? But either way, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this journey goes. We're starting off at Torquay United, which Dad is quite familiar with anyway, but the Enterprise National League South. Now, in this division, the season preview does suggest that they are one of the favourites to go up, so we should see a good first year. And with him being one of the best managers in the world, just nobody knows who he is yet, you'd like to think a manager of his stature with a good team in that league should progress quite quickly. Now, I've set him up so that his preferred formations are a 4-2-3-1 with 2 DMs and attacking midfield and a wide sort of formation, and out of possession dropping into a 4-2-2 or a 4-4-2 with 2 DMs, because let's face it, that's kind of what Dad likes to play quite often. And the first season as manager of Torquay United was a massive success because in the Enterprise National League, Torquay were crowned champions under the helm of Omega Dad. 89 points, going up as automatic champions as well. What a great start. He's even gained a little bit of reputation going up 2 little segments there. Still obscure, still nobody really knows who he is, but age 36, he's got a lot of time ahead of him. Now, I've got the in-game editor open so we can have a look at Dad a little bit more and see where he sort of sits in terms of reputation throughout his career. I've also set him up with 150 current abilities, so he's gone up 3 already, but he has the potential to be 200 out of 200, so that means he would be the best manager in the world. Now, his current reputation is 3,200. Home reputation is always slightly higher. World reputation, how the world knows him. That's the reason why he only has 2 segments, because this is out of 10,000 and he is still less than 2,000 right now. But of course, that will continue to increase if he continues to be successful at Torquay and eventually, of course, starts winning some trophies. Now, his second season in charge of Torquay, they finished in 15th place, which is not bad at all after being newly promoted into an Enterprise National League and 10 points away from that relegation zone. At the end of season 3, there were some big dream jobs available for Omega Dad, but I don't quite think he is going to be ready for it yet. However, his Torquay United have once again progressed, this time round in the Enterprise National League, finishing in 4th place and losing out from promotion because of the playoffs. Although we can't quite see what they're playing in terms of formation or player roles, etc., we can kind of get a gist of it through the squad section. So the last game that he played was that 4-2-3-1 that we knew that he would favour, and out of possession again is the 4-4-2, which we did set him up to be sort of like playing that role. Real Hammond was the top scorer though. He didn't actually play in the last game. 18 goals in 30 appearances. This is the calibre of player that my dad currently has as a Torquay player as a regular starter. So if he is the top scorer for that team in the National League, I would say Dad's doing a really good job. The 4th season at Torquay United, and you can see that Dad's attributes have started to increase. You can also see that he only has 1 year left on his contract and he is now up to regional reputation at the club. Torquay United won't care because they are loving having him as the manager, because they have only gone and become champions of the Enterprise National League despite it only being their 3rd season in the division. And Dad must be enjoying his time at Torquay because he's even extended his contract and got a nice little pay rise to 2032. Torquay are kind of backed Dad as well. They have spent 19 grand on different players. They've also brought in quite a few players on loan as well, and I think it's paid off for them because their first season in League 2, they finished in 6th place and just missed out on promotion because of a playoff final loss to Cheltenham. So this is 5 seasons into his career now, and you gotta say, it's been a great start for Dad. Despite obviously nobody knowing who he is, I think he has really took this team, and obviously just missing out on 3 promotions in 5 seasons is quite amazing, down to just a playoff appearance there and a playoff loss. But a regional reputation, if he keeps on going at this, he's 40 years of age now. Managers tend to retire on this game between 65 and 70. He could be on for a fantastic career. Unfortunately for Torquay, that was Dad's last full season at Torquay United, because he left the club on the 4th of February 2031, and he is now the manager of Stockport. So we have gone up into Sky Bet League 1 from Sky Bet League 2. He has jumped up, which is great. You don't want to sort of be in the same league just because it's higher reputation and then miss out on obviously taking a good club, what you've built there. But they have only finished in 15th place, which obviously isn't great. So I'd be interested to see how quickly he turns this around. But just 1 season later, remember, Dad's got a new job, which meant a big pay rise as well. He has taken Stockport County to 5th place in Sky Bet League 1, again losing out in the semi-finals of the playoffs. It was more disappointment for Stockport because in Dad's 8th season as a manager, they finished in 8th place in Sky Bet League 1. However, for Dad, something interesting might be on the horizon. Again, another pay rise and extending his contract to 2035. He is at 4 reputation segments there, regional reputation, but he is wanted by both Southampton and Sunderland. So it's at this point that he's starting to get recognised by the bigger clubs. I mean, both Southampton and Sunderland are Premier League type clubs. It'd be interesting to see how long it takes before the club above that will start to recognise him, considering we are 8 years into this already. Will he make the jump though? The answer is yes. You are now looking at the new manager of Southampton, and what a first season it was in charge. 2nd place in the championship for Dad, and look who was above him. Sunderland. Going back a season, it was interesting to see that both Southampton and Sunderland were actually relegated from the Premier League. So while searching for a manager, they both managed to find one that got automatic promotion back to the Premier League in 1 season. Dad was able to spend some big money though, and we all know I like to criticise some of Dad's signings. He did sell quite a lot as well. He sold Keith Smith to Napoli for £31 million, and this guy here, which is a great name, for £21 million. But the players that he brought in, I mean, considering they were in the Championship, they spent £30 million on a Burnley player. To be honest, he's quite good. It is a goalkeeper. It's very on trend with my dad. I think we'll all agree with that. The only other player that they spent, actually, they spent quite a lot of money on a few different players. Dominic Roberts being another one from Leicester. Not amazing, but he did spend in total £54 million while selling 56. I guess I can't criticise him too much. He did end up getting promoted automatically back to the Premier League, so it's not like he needed to sell loads of players to keep the club afloat or whatever. But this is the tricky bit, because when you go up into the Premier League, 9 times out of 10, if you get relegated, you're probably sacked. So let's see if that actually happens. And yeah, unfortunately for Dad, despite his reputation going up to national now that he's been a manager in the Premier League, Southampton did indeed sack him after just 2 seasons in charge, or 2 years in charge. They now have a new manager, but they were relegated either way, finishing in 18th place. I don't think Dad's got too much to worry about now that he has a national reputation. He should be able to find a club quite easily. And if we're looking basically into the details of that, he is also at 175 current ability, which is rather impressive. And you can see the world reputation, which was down at 2,000 when we last looked, is up to 5,057. However, another season goes by and Dad is still without a job in 2036. In fact, Dad goes 3.5 seasons without a job, and when he does come back, it still isn't going great, because Dad took over on the 17th of January at Crystal Palace, and unfortunately for him, they still got relegated from the Premier League, finishing in 19th place. Palace clearly recognised the talent that their managers possessed though, because they kept him on, and at Crystal Palace in the following season, he got a 2nd place finish in the Championship, taking them back to the Premier League for the upcoming season. And in the 16th season of Dad's managerial career, he finally manages a team to stay stay in the Premier League, with Crystal Palace finishing in 12th place. In terms of money spent, he spent another £65 million to keep them in there. We got Gerard Marquez from Valencia, who does look like a cracking defensive midfielder. That's definitely not one that I can criticise at all. £20 million for Julio Molina from Derby, and again, what a player that is as an attacking midfielder. Is it me, or is Dad's transfers as a fictional manager on Football Manager better than his actual transfers when he is actually taking charge of these? I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. But if you are enjoying this video, make sure you press that subscribe button, because we are about to start a Pentagon Challenge very soon. Yeah, my dad, Pentagon Challenge. That's never been done before. The following season, it was another bit of an improvement, with Crystal Palace finishing in 9th place in the Premier League. And for Dad, I think he's having a good time at Palace. He's got another contract on to 2044, and he now has a continental reputation, which if we are looking at in terms of actual numbers, the world reputation is 6,225. But just short of 4 years in charge, in the middle of December, just before Christmas, Crystal Palace sacked my dad as their manager, and he has still not picked up a job since. He's not going to have had a job for too long this time round though, because the following season he ends the season as the QPR manager, again in the Premier League, but again they've got themselves relegated. This one's kind of unavoidable too, because he actually took over in July last year, so he had a full season and 325 days. I mean, they haven't sacked him yet, but he did spend £99 million and sold only 30. So a lot of players were brought in. I'm guessing they were newly promoted. Again, the caliber of players isn't too bad. I guess it's just the way he's managing them. He's even buying Spurs players. He's put a nice little Spurs right back there. Yeah, this one's kind of undefendable, Dad, unfortunately. I don't quite know how you're going to get around this, but still a continental reputation. They give you a contract for another 2 years. Maybe they'll keep you around, because maybe they can't really afford to keep you any longer or to get rid of you. I don't really know. If we're looking at trophies in general, though, because I understand so far, you know, we haven't really looked at any trophies, you can kind of see that they haven't exactly been winning many trophies. It's kind of been sort of sporadic, knocking out in the 2nd round, 5th round against different clubs, 3rd round. Yeah, we're not exactly... I mean, the Carabao Cup runners-up isn't too bad in 2035, but that's nearly 9 years ago now. We aren't quite getting there anytime soon, are we? 9 years ago, we haven't got a single big trophy outside of like a league title win from a lower division. Surprisingly enough, QPR kept Omega Dad as manager the following season, and they almost gained promotion back to the Premier League immediately, only losing on a penalty shootout in the playoff final. He did spend another £40 million and only sold £20 million, so I don't really quite know what he's doing with the finances, but he's spending money still, and now he is still stuck with some of the best players that he has signed in his career in the Championship again. The year after did see a bit of a clear out, £42 million out, £22 million in, and look what happened when he did that. Championship, 1st place. He is very good in the Championship. It's just keeping that club in the Premier League that's the problem. Does this mean my dad's like Neil Warnock? You could have given me 1,000 guesses as to what happened the following season, and I would not have predicted what actually happened. Because my dad is now the manager of Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. He's not even gone over there for the money either, because he's only on 32 grand a week, so I don't understand. Maybe he just wanted to be somewhere hot, I guess. But if we look at the milestones, they only just finished in the semi-final of the Champions League in Asia, which is not a bad little performance there. We don't quite know what they have done in the league, because you can't see the league here in Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, but he did spend £19 million. He bought one player there from Genk, and he's not amazing. He's okay. He's not bad. So, yeah. Al Hilal. Didn't expect it at all. The following season, he took this Al Hilal team to become the actual Champions League winners. They beat FC Machida in the Asian Champions League, which means he has technically won the continental competition. Now, I know he said Champions League, but I mean, we're 23 years into the future now, and he hasn't quite exactly got even into the Champions League, so I'm going to suggest that the Asian Champions League counts as one of these Champions Leagues. Because if he now goes to another club and wins the Champions League there, I think that should count as he's won 2 Champions Leagues, because he's my dad and I'm biased. He is wanted by PSG, though. That could turn things around. That could really turn things around if he makes that move. He's 58, which is almost the same age as what he is in real life. PSG could be a big move for him. However, that doesn't quite materialise, and in fact he finds himself as the manager of Leeds United, who actually have done very well. They've just finished 6th in the Premier League with Dad as the manager, and they have only gone and won the bloody Europa League this season, meaning Dad has 2 continental competitions that he has won in back-to-back seasons. It's just Europa League and not the Champions League. And he was the manager from the beginning of the season. The 3rd of July 2048 is when he took over, which means he's done it in a full season. But he did spend £166 million. He's bought this man here from Napoli. Again, his recruitment has been spot on. I haven't seen a bad player yet. £38 million for a very good centre-back option there. I like this quite a lot. £25 million for Ngoma, who is even better. At 29 years of age, he is a stud of a defensive midfielder. The following season was an unlucky one. They were knocked out by Barcelona in the round of 16 of the Champions League, but they did get a nice little 5th place finish in the Premier League, meaning it's Champions League football again next season with Dad in charge. And again, another £122 million was spent. Rojas was the main guy, a fantastic left back. Now, I'm very much enjoying monitoring Dad's sort of managerial campaign so far. I mean, he's gone up to 155 grand a week now, so he wasn't even getting that in Saudi Arabia. This move to Leeds has been exceptional for him, which I'm buzzing with. I mean, you can see how good of a manager he is, and he now has a global reputation, so I'm very surprised that nobody's come in for him. His world reputation is nearly 9,000. It's 8,600, and his current ability is 191, so he is almost at 200, which would suggest he is probably one of, if not the best player in the world in terms of current ability. It's just obviously what he can win, and he has won, of course, back-to-back Asian Champions Leagues and a Europa League, and he's doing quite well in the Premier League. I guess it's just everything else around that. He's getting knocked out in the quarterfinals of competitions now and not quite getting over the line in other stuff. Maybe he could take Leeds all the way to the title, who knows? Or will he try to complete another one of those challenges, because he has just been announced as the manager of his own national team, England, on 110 grand a week, but it doesn't say how long for, and he has a global reputation. So we'll have a look and see when the next competition is, because we're in the middle by the looks of it, so he doesn't have a World Cup or a Euros just yet. But the world reputation is now up to 9,100, so that little bump up because of being named as the England manager, that's absolutely lovely. It does say there, nations runners-up in the UEFA Nations League, so like the 3rd competition, I guess. But he was announced as the manager in July 26, which is 2 days before my birthday in 2050. So yeah, he's now been in charge for nearly a year, so that I'd imagine that would be just after England had either lost or been knocked out of the Euros or the World Cup. So I wonder which one it's going to be first. Well, it turns out that it was the Euros that Dad was about to play in with England, and they only went on to win it in 2052. So that is absolutely fantastic, but it could be a one-and-done tournament situation for Dad, because he already has a bid to become the Newcastle manager, and there's rumoured interest of Real Madrid. However, it does look like if they put a bid in, he has in fact done an interview, and Newcastle are really looking for somebody to bring them back into the European spots, finishing down in 11th place last season. And so with the Euros win, that's technically one of the challenges complete. He has gone on and won a international competition, so that's 1 out of 3 checked. I would say if he can get 2 out of the 3, we can kind of say he is one of the greatest right now. If he wins all 3, one of the greatest of all time. However, I can't see him winning the league that many times in a row with Newcastle. But yeah, stranger things has happened. They definitely didn't do too bad though, Newcastle, with Omega Dad as manager. They finished in 3rd place this season, and I think it just goes to show how bad they did last year, because they actually won the UEFA Super Cup with Dad as the manager, which meant that they probably won the Europa League the season before when they sacked their original boss, to take Dad as their new manager. So in the Premier League, they probably just weren't happy with what they had. He only spent £43 million and lost £62 million worth of players, selling the main player there, who does look very good to be fair, but bringing in Bastos from Brazil, who, yeah, that's probably his best player that he has had at a club since. So he's got very good recruitment there. That guy has been in Brazil for a long time. He's 28 years of age. But Dad is already wanted. I don't know if you've seen it, but Omega Dad is wanted to become a new manager, and it's of Arsenal. Of course it is. And this, of course, is a good sign because Arsenal, I think, were one of the two teams above Newcastle. So it's one of the teams that have been doing very well recently. It could mean a Premier League title, maybe even a Champions League. We could go on and complete the challenge with this appointment should it go through. And it does indeed go through. I'm so overjoyed with this. Yeah, I cannot tell you. Just simulating some of these things, the stories that you get out of Football Manager is hilarious, isn't it? My dad, as a Spurs fan, becoming the manager of Arsenal, hilarious. That global reputation has obviously helped. Let's see what it's up to now. So world reputation is 10,000, or nearly 10,000, 9,830. It's 10,000 home reputation. You can see a current ability of 192. My biggest worry is he's 65. This couldn't have come like 10 years before. That would have been amazing. But he has gone on and done the unthinkable with Arsenal because he has won the Premier League with them. Amazing as well. Newcastle finished second, so he's done exceptionally well. He has spent £97 million, but he's done it quite well, as in like every single year, he's spreading the budget out. I mean, some of the players he's bringing in as well are very good, and even for like the ones that haven't cost that much, still bringing in some good talent. So I think he's done very well. He's also gone on and won the FA Cup this season. They didn't quite win the Champions League, but it's an FA Cup and Premier League domestic double for Arsenal with Omega Dad as their manager. They've betrayed him. And I don't believe it, but they've sacked him after he's won a trophy and finished in second place. Arsenal, you utter scumbags. And unfortunately, this is going to be the end of his career as well. He's going out on such a sour note. But Omega Dad is retiring, finishing in second place in the Premier League with Arsenal. You can see he was sacked 2 days after Arsenal finished in second place. How dare you? You ought to be Man United won the league though, so silver linings. Silver linings, I guess. They've come out of nowhere. But how dare you, Arsenal? Because he's won a Carabao Cup this season for him. And unfortunately, he only finished in the Premier League second place. FA Cup, where he didn't get to the final of that. But Champions League, let's see where he actually got to in the Champions League. It was the quarter-final stage, unfortunately. Losing to Real Madrid, you know, the greatest team to ever play this competition. And they've sacked him. And now he's retiring. I am absolutely gutted. What a shame this was, because he was just about to crack the last two challenges. If he got given another couple of seasons, I think he could have cracked those last two challenges. But he's 66 years old now. He wants to hang up his boots or his whistle, whatever a manager would suggest, his jumper, jacket, I don't know. But what a career he's had. And what a dying shame that Arsenal has left it on a sour note. I don't know. What's your thoughts? We've come so close to completing the challenge, but I think Omega Dad has done a great job as the manager throughout this career. It was a slow start, but we got there eventually. The Al Hilal one really threw me off, I must admit, but there were some great stops along the way. If you can see his staff history here, the Southampton one, we're missing the Torquay and the Stockport one. That's under staff history, so I don't know where that's gone. But anyway, Crystal Palace, QPR, Al Hilal, Leeds, the England manager, taking them to the Euros, Newcastle, and Arsenal. At least he can call himself a Premier League winner as the manager of one club. He's won the Europa League, he's won the Asian Champions League, just could not get the rest of them over the line. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, and on screen right now, if you want to have more stuff about my dad, he did a Youth to Go recently, and of course, we've got the Pentagon Challenge coming out very soon, so stick around for that one.